Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to a game of throws in World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles, and welcome back to the world's fourth most famous Austrian, for it is none other than Trenlass. He has returned. He's in a tier 10 domination battle here on the mountain range map, and he is in a light cruiser, and there are 5 battleships on the enemy team, but it's okay, because he's not in any old light cruiser. Like the completely overpowered USS Hawaii that we featured in a video last week, the Bremen, the ship that Trenlass is sailing, is also one of the brand new extra special steel ships. And the Bremen is equally OP and equally bullshit. It is of course not a ship that ever existed, but unlike the USS Hawaii, which was started but never finished, and the version that we have here in the game is a sort of bullshit what if it had been finished just differently. The Bremen isn't a ship that ever existed. It's not even based on a development of a ship that ever existed. It's based on a development of a what if that never existed, that might have happened, that could have been developed further and might have ended up looking like this. If you look at the Bremen from a certain angle and squint real hard, it might appear to look a little bit like an Admiral Hipper, except for the 16 150mm guns and 4 torpedo launchers, but other than that it might look a little bit like an Admiral Hipper. These 16 150mm guns have a firing range of 18.1 kilometers and a reload of slightly more than 5 seconds. Despite the light weight of the shells, because they are just 6-inch shells, I mean, as you can see, the ballistics are insane, as is the accuracy. Look at those flat firing arcs and absurdly quick shell travel time, which leads me to suspect one of two things must be happening here. Either those are not in fact 150mm shells and are actually 150mm rocket-propelled gyrojets, or the laws of physics, in particular air friction, just don't seem to apply to these things. The high explosive shells have an 8% chance of setting fire to a target, and when you're launching 16 of them every 5 seconds, let's just say your target is going to start burning sooner rather than later. Because it's a German ship, the high explosive shells also get that famous German quarter caliber high explosive penetration rather than 1/6 caliber high explosive penetration that everybody else, other than the Japanese with their 100mm guns, enjoys, which means that these 150mm guns actually have 38mm of penetration. Fun, fun, fun for battleships and heavy cruisers of all nations. The armour-piercing shells are pretty spicy too, with ridiculously good penetration for such flimsy, lightweight shells. Oh, did I mention torpedoes? 4 launchers, 2 on each side. Torpedo range? Not the 6 kilometer that most other German cruisers and battleships are on with. No, these things have a 12 kilometer range. It can launch 10 of them from each side with a 2-minute reload, a speed of 64 knots, and they're only visible from a distance of 1.3 kilometers. Trenlass is going to launch 40 torpedoes during the course of this battle. There are destroyers that don't get to launch that many torpedoes during the course of a full 20-minute battle. Hell, even a Jaeger with the shortest torpedo reload at high tier is doing well to launch 40 torpedoes during the course of a battle. Oh dear, the Hawaii has beached itself. Well, that's unfortunate, isn't it? Now remember, the Hawaii is armed with destroyer caliber gun turrets. Lots of them, and has an insanely fast rate of fire, even faster when it's within a certain range, I think about 12 kilometers. How's the Bremen doing? Bearing in, there we go, 4.1 second reload. And it has bigger guns. They're not big guns, they're 6-inch guns. It's a light cruiser after all, but they're bigger than the Hawaii's 5-inch guns. And the Bremen can bring almost as many of them to bear on the target. And the Hawaii's reload, unless it's within 12 kilometers, is actually 2 seconds slower, with 1-inch smaller caliber guns than the Bremen. Now, you all saw in last week's video just how absolutely ridiculously good the Hawaii is when it can use its alternate fire mode at closer ranges. Oh dear, he's just run himself aground again. Well, isn't that a shame? Trendless switching to the Aki there, and got his wish. He wanted to set a couple of fires, and then he switches fire back to the USS Hawaii, the extremely unfortunate USS Hawaii, who got himself into a gun duel with a Bremen at ranges of more than 12 kilometers, where the Bremen massively outclasses it. Bigger guns, shorter reload. Remember, the Hawaii has destroyer caliber guns. The Bremen, as a light cruiser with bigger guns, has a shorter reload than the Hawaii. So, bigger guns, shorter reload, and effectively able to bring the same amount to bear on the target. The Hawaii, at this range, had no chance. Trendless took a bit of a spanking there from the enemy Aki, although it kind of looks... I mean, you know, the enemy battleship is in trouble. Okay, I thought maybe he was close enough to land there that he wouldn't be able to shoot over it. Sadly, that is not the case. Trendless took another rather large chunk of damage there. He's now backing up. But that Aki is in a lot of trouble. You see all the secondaries raining down on him. Did I mention that the Bremen also has secondaries? 20 128mm secondary gun barrels. And of course, because they're German, with German quarter caliber penetration, the high explosive shells they fire will penetrate 32mm of armour. Now the base range on them is 8.3 kilometers, but Trendless has obviously boosted that. I don't know what the exact range is, but well, they were hitting the Aki at ranges of 10.3 kilometers, so yeah, that's a thing. Is there anything that this ship is not good at? I mean, well, it is very much a long-range sniper, but that doesn't mean it's bad at close range either. Well, I mean, it kind of is, because its belt armour is only 30mm, and there are plenty of battleships at tier 10 that can completely overmatch that kind of belt armour, so angling is a waste of time. So you ideally do want to keep this thing at long range. But if you are forced into a close range engagement, it does have 20 torpedoes. Yeah. Okay, things are starting to go pretty badly for Trendless's team. The friendly Bourgogne did just pull one quick kill back, but the team are still down one kill overall. And more importantly, they don't have any of the cap circles. The enemy team have complete control of 2, and they're flipping the 1 alpha. So they're about to have control of all 3. And then, plot twist, the game just throws the cat amongst the pigeons. At a very, very useful moment for Trendless, since he's getting shot at by a Grosser Kurfürst and just took a huge chunk of damage there. He only has 1 heal left and he's down to 16,000 hit points. But the Cyclone just happened. So, for those of you who might be new here, the Cyclone is a game mechanic that can either be very, very good news or very, very bad news. When it happens, the visibility across the map starts to decrease, until eventually, when the Cyclone's in full force, nobody can see anything more than 8 kilometers away from them. At the moment, visibility is at around about 30 odd kilometers, but it is dropping drastically. So the Grosser Kurfürst over there is still visible to Trendless, and Trendless is, of course, unfortunately, still visible to the Grosser Kurfürst. Luckily, the Grosser Kurfürst is kind of more focused on finishing off the Sibir over there rather than doing any further damage to this pesky little light cruiser. The friendly Sibir just made a great decision there. The enemy Willem I opened up on him, hoping to finish him off, revealing his position. The Sibir, knowing that there was no way he was going to be able to take down the Grosser Kurfürst, short of ramming him, switched fire to the low health Willem I, finishing him off, and is still continuing to fully occupy the attention of the Grosser Kurfürst. Unfortunately, Trendless manoeuvred to get himself into position here, where he's got an island between himself and the Grosser Kurfürst, hoping to go undetected. It was a good plan, and it might have worked, if it wasn't for that pesky interfering enemy submarine who keeps pinging him, which means you know there's going to be torpedoes on the way. Now, check this out. Spotting range has decreased to 8 kilometers, so the Cyclone is in full effect. Now, the Sibir and the Grosser Kurfürst can see each other, so they're shooting at each other. But because the Grosser Kurfürst is more than 8 kilometers away, Trendless can't see it. But that doesn't mean he can't shoot it. He's using the minimap and the tracer from the Grosser Kurfürst to aim his shells, and he's scoring hits. Some next level shooting going on here. Things are not, however, going nearly as well for the rest of his team. The Sibir goes down, the friendly Bourgogne gets torpedoed and sunk by the Yu Yang, but he did manage to get some shots in the air that set fires that finished off the Yu Yang, giving the Bourgogne a flesh wound award. Speaking of awards, there's the high caliber. And of course, with the Grosser Kurfürst now within 8 kilometres, he can very much see Trendlass's Bremen. But he's not interested in any further torpedoes or any of that withering 6-inch high explosive, so he's ducked into cover behind the island. Probably going to be using the opportunity to heal up a bit. Trendlass, undetected by the Grosser Kurfürst and the Submarine, fires a couple of speculative shots to see if that's going to get him detected. It does not. The friendly Monmouth taking advantage of the reduced visibility in the Cyclone to flip that cap circle at Bravo. Good stuff. But what happened to the Grosser Kurfürst, who ducked behind the island? Surely we should have seen him by now. Enemy submarine pinging something, so depth charge attack planes, and we saw the anti-aircraft tracer from behind the island, which means the Grosser Kurfürst didn't just pull a hard right rudder and motor on out of there, he's still there. In fact, he's within 6 kilometres because there goes his hydro. It's possible he knows the Bremen's got torpedoes and he's trying to sucker him in to exposing enough broadside to launch torpedoes that he can be deleted. Trendlass, however, is not going to fall for that old gag. Loads the armour piercing, and there's his second kill and 246,000 damage. Remember, there's still an enemy submarine on the other side of that island. It's 3 on 3. 2 cruisers and a battleship against 1 submarine and 2 destroyers. Now, normally the advantage there would be with the enemy team, the stealthy of... okay. Well, it kind of was, because the Trump just torpedoed and sank the Mecklenburg. So, 2 cruisers against 2 destroyers and a submarine. Yep, the submarine is definitely still there. Oh shit, you're spotted. It has to be the submarine at periscope depth. Alright. Torpedoes out. Hydro is active. Despite the enemy team having the stealth advantage, I mean, there it is, yep. Still can't see him. That doesn't mean he can't shoot at the rough origin point of the sonar ping, though. But despite the enemy team definitely having the stealth advantage, 2 destroyers and a submarine against 2 cruisers, one of them a heavy cruiser, the Monmouth. Right now, the advantage kind of, sort of, actually lies with Trendlass's team, because the Cyclone is in effect. So nobody can see anybody further than 8 kilometres away. Which means that the stealth advantage that the enemy team do actually still enjoy isn't anywhere near as much of an advantage as it would have been if the Cyclone wasn't in effect, because they'd be spotting these guys from 12, 10, 11 kilometres away, rather than 8. And even though the enemy team can see him, in fact the Trump can see him because here comes the airstrike, and obviously the submarine can absolutely see him because he keeps pinging him and launching torpedoes at him, and Trendlass cannot see either the submarine or the Trump. He's still hitting the submarine just by aiming at the oil slicks and the origin point of the sonar pings. With a 300.1 kill, 1 cap circle lead, there is absolutely no way this submarine should be allowing himself to get suckered into a close range fight with a light cruiser like this. And the Trump absolutely should not be doing so. You guys know you're winning, right? You know the only thing you have to do to actually win is, well, nothing. Just stay alive, yeah? You know you just got into a fight with a light cruiser with 16 150mm guns and a 4-second reload. You know what that does to destroyers, yeah? Well, okay, maybe you don't. You do now. That submarine may have actually just made a good decision. He's dropped below periscope depth. Trendlass has a double fire, but he should be okay. I mean, everything's on cooldown. He's got no heals left. Oh, and he's got the submarine. All he had to do was nothing. Oh, shit. Oh, he's hammering the throttle there. No. Oh, well, never mind. So now it's Monmouth versus Halland. And the Halland, like the Trump, also doesn't appear to understand what a stealth advantage is. If you're wondering why is the Monmouth firing armour-piercing at a destroyer, it's not his fault. The Monmouth only has 234mm armour-piercing shells, no high explosive. If, however, like Trendlass, you're wondering why the Monmouth isn't turning his nose in towards and chasing the Halland and not allowing him to get away, well, that is a very, very good question. And the answer is because he's trying to torpedo him. Yes, that's a real thing that just happened. So with the Monmouth doing his best to throw it, and it looks like the Halland has actually managed to hold its breath for long enough to form a coherent thought and has realised, hang on, I'm 300 points ahead, all I have to do is stay alive, and is running the hell away. It even looks like he's running in the direction of the cap circle at Charlie just to further cement his victory, and of course the Monmouth is never going to catch him. Some Halland torpedoes there, because why the hell not? It's not like launching torpedoes gives you position away. I mean, it kind of does. You can see where the torpedoes came from. And it looks like the Monmouth is going... I mean, it's not going to sink the Monmouth. These are Halland torpedoes. They don't do a lot of damage. Even if he takes 2, the Monmouth's got enough health. It's not going to be a problem. Oh, well, never mind. The Cyclone's lifting. There's a... Really? Seriously? You know you were winning, right? How do you even do that? And so the Halland manages to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, right after the Monmouth attempted to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, right after the Trump and the Seal attempted to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. There was a lot of that going on in this battle. Oh, World of Warships. You never fail to disappoint. Alright, so, yeah, funnily enough, 2,782 base experience. And you know what? Aside from a sudden rush of shit to the brain at the end there, the Monmouth actually played a pretty good game. For those of you who might be curious, that 269,000 damage all achieved, 100% of it achieved, with the 1,500 6-inch shells that Trenlass fired. I told you he was going to launch 40 torpedoes, and he did. I never said he was going to hit anything with them. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I give you Trenlass in the Bremen, making a mockery of game balance in this multiple cliffhanger will they, won't they episode of A Game of Throws. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you want to see more like this, then link to Trenlass's various social media down below in the video description. And as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.